Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, establishing your retirement timeline, part 2 in our series on retiring in the near future. Well, welcome to our second segment. Listen, when you're preparing for retirement, you need to start mapping out a timeline. And I would say when you're looking in when you start turning 50, you start receiving ARP cards and ARP letters and ARP communication, AARP, you've known you've arrived in senior land. But when I'm looking at these lines, I'm looking at basic ideas along the timeline so that I can establish what I'm thinking through and how I'm going to make this work. I'm going to add a few at the end of this timeline just because we've updated our thinking since we published the book, and we just want to make sure that you see all the things you have. Now, when I'm getting ready to retire, I have major critical choices here. One, before we get into timeline, is Medicare. Listen, you can't get Medicare until you're 65. You may be employed at 65 and beyond. You're automatically going to be enrolled. You're going to go to Part A, but Part B, if you're still working, it's okay to go. I'd still sign up for it. I just don't want to do anything with it. I'm going to go ahead and work. But it depends. Everybody's case is different. And I don't want to pay any of the Part B premiums if I'm already getting coverage from my employer. Most of the time, and this is just my opinion, you don't have to take this to the bank, but it may fit your situation to be suitable for you. If you look at the total cost of $134 at present Medicare monthly, and whatever it costs your employer, which is going to be a whole lot more than that, even if they're picking up the entire tab, you may be able to maybe come to a place where you go on Medicare. That saves your employer money, and you might be able to split the difference with them. Maybe you'll take $5 grand on the side. That'll easily pay for your Medicare and have a little money on the extra on, and that's something you should always consider. Should I really leave it? But if you're retiring 62, 63, 64, you're looking forward to 65 and becoming a Medicare member. You definitely want to do it. Today, it's $134. Remember, you're going to need probably some kind of gap insurance to pick up what Medicare B doesn't pick up. And heads up, you have to enroll 6 months either side. They actually give you 7 months. 3 months before the month you turn 65 and the 3 months after. And you have to do that. If you don't do it in time, there could be associated penalties. And you can't have drug coverage drop. You can't have any time where you didn't have coverage or you'll pay a penalty. But heads up, it's not that bad of a penalty. If it's just been a short time and you didn't have it, I paid $9.99, or I was going to pay thousands of dollars in Obamacare. What should I do? I paid the penalty $9.99 for my Part D. It just made math sense, and it's just a better deal. So I want to look at these kind of choices well in advance. Start thinking this through. When am I going to take Social Security? When am I going to take Medicare? And if I'm a senior at least 62, am I going to use the home equity conversion mortgage as part of my retirement scheme? I do. There's reasons to do it. It's not for everybody, but it could be suitable for your situation. I want to start looking at 55. You can 72T and 72Q. Those are parts of the law that allow you to take money a little bit early. It depends upon whether you should or not. I try to wait. I'm trying to wait as long as I can. But if people wanted to really get money early, it's possible that you could look at age 55 and they'll amortize that amount over your lifetime. They'll use the IRS. They'll use an IRS grid on your mortality. And that could be a way to get money a little earlier. Again, I say heads up. My issue is always delay constructive receipt of Social Security, of your retirement. Try to delay it as long as you can, at least till 70. I think you'll be happier. Listen, we're living longer. If Jean Clement lived to 122 years, 164 days, yes, that's the outlier. And Susanna Jones lived 116. She was America's last tricentenarian, born in 1899, lived throughout the 20th century, and died May 2016. She died at 116. Yes, those are outliers. But I think many of us, especially female boomers and younger people, are going to be living to age 100. So I'm already incorporating in my timeline. I add on this timeline, if I was doing this timeline for a client, I would be adding age 100 as my mortality. And I'd also add another age, 85. I'll tell you that in a second. Now, 59 and a half, I can start taking qualified plans out at 59 and a half without a penalty. Heads up. If it's ERISA, if you're in a 401k, defined contribution IRA, if you're into defined benefit plans that are pensions, you have to pay ordinary income tax on that. Keep in mind that under the new tax law for seniors, especially at 65, you're getting two things. One is everybody's getting the standard deduction, married couple, at least for $24,000. But if you're 65, you're going to get an extra $2,500 on top of that. So $26,500. If you're being approached to convert a Roth IRA, to convert an IRA to a Roth IRA, be careful. Do the math first. You may have enough in your deductions, your standard deduction and your senior deduction, to be able to match up to qualified plans, and that will take care of the first $26,500 that is taxable. Just do the math. That's why we're looking at this before we retire, not while we're in retirement. These are the decisions that we need to make sure of. They're critical choices. Now, when I get to 59.5, I could take my qualified plan out. I say if you can wait and delay, please do. You're just letting the market stay in the market from 59.5 to 70.5 when you have to take it out. That's 20 more years in the market, possibility of getting maybe 2 cycles, maybe even 3 cycles of the market. It could be beneficial. But that's what I say. You can do it though. At age 62, there are a plethora of things to look at. At age 62, you could take Social Security out. Heads up, if you're working still and you're taking your Social Security, you just took it at 62 and you're getting a 25% reduction. You're only getting 75% of your benefit, and you're working on top of it, which is going to tax not only your regular earnings as working, but now it's going to probably tax your Social Security as well. At 62, you come in line, you can be eligible for HECM, Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. In HECM, you can eliminate a mortgage. You can eliminate a mortgage and get reverse mortgage income, which is tax-free. You could eliminate a mortgage and buy a home. You could be eliminating a mortgage and having a, not a HELOC loan, but a HECM appreciating line of credit. There are so many things to look at in the HECM laws at age 62, and you need to be heads up. This should be part and parcel of your critical choices. Whether you use it or not, that's another thing. But I want you to make sure you're fully understanding there are some benefits here for some people, and it could be the difference between a tight retirement and a very good, enjoyable retirement. At age 65, you're on Medicare now, and that's when I say you have to make your choice. If you're still working, whether it's a good deal or not, I say if you talk to your employer, you might be able to cut a sweet deal where they actually pay for you to split the cost that they're doing. They're probably shelling out $8 to $10 grand for you right now, and I think they'd like to reduce that cost. Maybe you could take half, he could take half, and you just go on Medicare and be done with it. And now, most of us are boomers, are full retirement age at age 66, some of us at age 67. It depends upon when you were born. At age 66, you have your full retirement age. But heads up, if you just waited from age 66 to age 70, 4 more years, you're going to earn 8% simple compounded. And that's not even talking about any of the bumps or any of the inflation or the cost of living adjustments that have occurred. So just think about this as a statement. The odds are, whatever statement you're looking at on socialsecurity.gov, there's probably going to be a little bit more because those numbers may not always include inflation by the time you actually take constructive receipt. Keep in mind that if you're a boomer before January 1, 1954, and down to about, right now it's probably about 1951, 1950, you could take a restrictive application still, and even if your spouse didn't work throughout her entire life or a little bit of work as far as employment goes, you could take her full retirement benefit. You could then make a restriction on your own. You're going to take the spousal benefit, and there's probably anywhere between $15,000 and all the way up to $35,000, $40,000 between age 66 and 70 just on restrictive application. The problem is it's a narrow demographic. And so call your advisor and say, am I in the age group that still can do this? Because then I would definitely get, now I've given you a reason to wait till age 70 on your Social Security, because you're going to be able to mine some extra dough that you didn't think you could get. So remember, 66 or 67, full retirement, go to socialsecurity.gov, make sure you have your account open. If you haven't done it yet, set it up. And then at age 70, I'm going to take receipt of my Social Security. It doesn't matter any longer that if you're going to hold your Social Security that long, it doesn't matter. That's the maximum you can get, so you're going to take it at age 70 no matter what. You might as well start taking your money then. But remember, from age 66 to 70, you made 8% simple every year. How many other investments can I give you guaranteed for the next 4 years between your 66th birthday and your 70th birthday that's going to generate that kind of money? 70 and a half, we have to take out whatever qualified plans. Remember, seniors, and we find this out all day long, you'll pay a 50% penalty on the difference that you should have actually withdrawn under the required minimum distributions in 70 and a half. It's a punitive tax. It's a terrible law, but it is what it is. And so be advised, you got to make sure your advisor understands that you have to take that money out. And last thing, age 85, you could delay your RMDs and use a QLAC, a qualified longevity annuity contract under the IRS. They'll allow you to push 120 or 25% of your qualified plan, both you and your spouse, not to exceed $125,000, and you can push that into the future as far out to age 85. It could be a tactic. If you really don't need that money at age 70, you're just saving taxes now, and you're letting that money accumulate even the more all the way out to age 85. It's a great tactic, especially for people who have the space, the cash flow to do it. It's a great idea. Well, again, we're looking at critical choices. I want you to make those choices now before you get to retirement. Don't forget to watch our next segment on creating income streams, part 3 in our series on retiring in the near future. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.